Sometimes the biggest stories start with the smallest things, like an onion. But this story isn't just about some produce rotting at a border. No, this is about a tiny trade dispute that rips the curtain back on a country's deepest fears and a serious question about its very survival. All right, let's get into it.
I mean, it really doesn't get much more blunt than this, right? This is the raw, unfiltered language of a trade war. It's the simple idea at the heart of a standoff between Ghanaian and Nigerian traders that has literally slammed the brakes on a vital supply chain. A few simple words with massive, massive consequences.
So just try to picture this for a second. You've got these long lines of trucks absolutely packed to the brim with onions, just sitting there, going nowhere. And apparently, this whole thing kicked off when some Nigerian trucks in Ghana were seized for not following the rules. Well, the response was immediate. And while the politicians argue, these onions, a basic food for so many people, are literally spoiling in the sun. This is way more than just an economic loss. This is a direct threat to the food on people's plates.
Okay, so you might be wondering, why are we making such a big deal about onions? And that's a fair question. Because here's the thing. This onion standoff, it isn't the real story. It's just a symptom. It's a little crack on the surface that reveals a huge systemic problem underneath, a vulnerability that could bring an entire economy to its knees. And boom, there it is, the heart of the issue, laid out perfectly clear. The source for this, Cyrus from Toontum Network, he's arguing that this deep reliance on other countries for the absolute basics, well, it puts you in a really fragile spot. Just think about what that really means. It means your nation's stability isn't completely in your own hands.
So what does that vulnerability actually look like in the real world? Well, take a look at this number. During the last big global supply chain crisis, Ghana's currency, the cedi, just fell off a cliff. It went from about 5 cedis to the US dollar all the way to 14. That is a massive, painful economic shock. And why did it happen? Because when the world shut down, the flow of essential goods into the country just dried up.
And what's really striking when you see this list is just how much stuff we're talking about. I mean, this isn't luxury goods. This is the absolute core of what people eat every day. Onions, tomatoes, rice, flour, even simple things like canned goods. And then you see the really big one, roughly 80% of refined petroleum. This list just shows how deeply tangled Ghana's daily life is with the rest of the world.
And this is the ultimate warning from the source. It's a truly chilling thought, isn't it? The idea that if a major global conflict were to erupt somewhere else, disrupting shipping and closing ports, the economic fallout wouldn't just be bad, it would be catastrophic. The entire economy, which is built on this foundation of imports, could be, in his exact words, completely wiped out.
So if you're facing a possibility that grim, what do? Well, the source material doesn't just point out the problem. It offers a very direct, very forceful solution. The state itself has to step up. It has to take control of its own food security.
And here's the key bit of logic. It's all about risk. It's one thing to depend on a super stable partner, but the source points out that a lot of the countries Ghana relies on are dealing with their own serious problems. Political instability, security threats, you name it. And depending on a neighbor whose own house is on shaky ground, the source calls that a pretty unwise strategy.
And this slide really lays out the two different paths. On one hand, you have how things are now. Lots of small, local farmers who are working hard, but they're often underfunded and just don't have the scale or the logistics to feed an entire nation. The proposed solution? It's a complete 180. We're talking large-scale, state-run agricultural production, backed with serious money and modern infrastructure to actually make it work.
Now, to make this whole idea of state action feel more real and less abstract, the source zooms in on one perfect, almost unbelievable example of a missed opportunity. It's what they call the fertilizer disconnect.
Okay, just try to get your head around this. On the one hand, Ghana is sitting on huge offshore reserves of natural gas. And natural gas is the single most important ingredient for making modern fertilizer. So they have the raw material right there, but on the other hand, the country imports more than 300,000 metric tons of fertilizer every single year. The source calls this a massive disconnect. And honestly, that feels like an understatement. It's just wild.
And what's the price tag for that disconnect? At a bare minimum, it's $135 million US. That's money that is leaving Ghana every single year to buy a product that, in theory, they could be making right at home. Just think of what that money could be doing if it stayed in the country.
Exactly. So the point here isn't just about saving money, as important as that is. It's about building something entirely new. It's about creating jobs, developing skills, and turning a raw resource into a valuable product, right there in Ghana. It's an entire industry, just waiting for someone to build it.
So all of this, the onions, the currency, the fertilizer, it all builds to a final and pretty urgent conclusion. The source takes this domestic issue and connects it directly to the bigger global picture of instability and uncertainty. And the message is clear. The clock is ticking.
And this is the question that just hangs over this entire topic, isn't it? In a world where old alliances feel shaky and new conflicts are popping up, the whole idea of relying on your neighbors starts to feel, well, risky. The argument here suggests that when you ask who you can truly depend on, there's only one reliable answer: yourself.
Wow, I mean, you really can't miss the urgency in that statement. It's a direct plea to wake up and see the danger before it's too late. This combination of depending on imports while the world becomes less stable, it's not just a challenge, it's a ticking bomb just waiting for the right, or maybe wrong, set of circumstances to go off.
You know, for decades, the main idea was that global trade and countries depending on each other was the best path to prosperity. But the argument here is that the world has changed. The math is different now, and self-sufficiency, especially for something as critical as food, is moving from being a strategic choice to being a matter of pure national survival.
And so we end up right back where we started, with a simple onion that has peeled back the layers on a profoundly complex global question. In an increasingly unpredictable world, is turning inward and focusing on making your own essential goods the only guaranteed way to secure your future? The source we explored today argues a powerful yes. The final question is, who else is listening?